Today, I'll be talking about what Gartner calls lean-forward tools. We spend billions of dollars annually on security protection, and yet we continue to experience huge problems with malware. This chart shows the approximate market sizes for the four key building blocks of security. As you can see, the firewall market, that's over $6 billion annually. The intrusion prevention market is over $1 billion. Endpoint protection platforms, these are the suites that include antivirus and anti-spyware protection. That's over $3 billion annually. And the secure web gateway market, which is primarily URL filtering, anti-malware protection, that's over $1 billion annually. We're spending all this money on traditional tools, and yet malware is still a very big problem. Experienced security professionals know that threats will always get ahead of defenses. The analogy here is that security is like a game of chess in which the bad guys get to go first. They make the first move with the white pieces, but a good chess player can win with the black pieces provided that they react strategically. No matter how good our strategic defenses are, things will go wrong, however, so we have to be able to detect security incidents quickly and react. This is an important part of any security strategy. Security-conscious organizations need to look for things that might be getting through their defenses. Today, the big concern is advanced targeted threats. This is also known as advanced persistent threats, or APTs. Dealing with these targeted threats and insider threats requires a lean-forward security approach. Gartner has identified 5 different categories of lean-forward tools, and I'll briefly describe each one. The order is roughly in terms of cost and complexity. Network discovery. This is sometimes known as profiling. The ability to discover all the endpoints on the network and to identify the device. For example, is it a Windows PC? Is it a MacBook? Is it an iPhone, Droid tablet, etc.? Or maybe it's a printer or IP phone. Lean-forward organizations want to know exactly what's on their network so that they can build the appropriate network access controls. For example, your policy may be to block all Android devices. Well, the policies need to have teeth. In other words, you first have to be able to discover the Android devices before you can block them, and network discovery tools give you the ability to discover all those devices. The next category, network behavior analysis, NBA. These tools give us the ability to analyze network traffic by correlating flow sources. These flow sources can be from routers, other layer 3 devices, or special-purpose flow exporters. NBA tools use a combination of signature and anomaly detection to provide visibility into the state of the network and to identify deviations from baselines that may indicate abnormal or suspicious behavior. Penetration testing tools, or pen test tools. These solutions are essentially hacker-in-a-box tool sets that probe for vulnerabilities and attempt to exploit them to find a path to key targets, such as business-critical servers and databases. You can buy the tools, but many organizations choose to use external penetration testing services. It's common to identify business-critical servers and databases and then use penetration testing to go after them. Network forensics. These tools provide full packet capture and storage of network traffic and provide analytics and reporting tools to support incident response and to investigate advanced threats. These are powerful tools that provide continuous monitoring and assessment capabilities, and they're very helpful in detecting advanced threats. These tools can also be expensive and relatively complex, although they generally offer a good return on investment. These are the 5 lean-forward categories. Now we're going to take a closer look at network behavior analysis. Let's take a look at how NBA works. NBA is based on the concept of traffic flows, and net flow is the most common flow record. With NBA, we have the concept of net flow exporters. These are typically routers, and they send flow records, which is a summary of network traffic, to a net flow collector. What I'm showing here is a very simple example. In the real world, you would have multiple exporters per flow collector. And it's at the flow collector that the data is stored and then analyzed. Now, with NBA, the key thing is that information and traffic trends are baselined over time. And these solutions are very good at observing deviations from the baseline over a period of time. Let's take a look at the most common use cases for NBA. And there are two. We have targeted attack analysis and compliance and insider threat issues. With targeted attacks, it's the behavioral analysis capabilities of these tools that help us detect attacks for which there aren't any signatures. By collecting and analyzing flow records, this provides us visibility into our network traffic and allows us to establish baselines for this traffic and to set alerts when we see deviations from our thresholds. By adding contextual analysis, such as time of day, location, and more specific information about the flow itself, such as number of concurrent flows, packets per second, bits per second, this is very helpful in detecting targeted attacks. As an example, we know how much traffic we should see on the server farm that hosts our most sensitive applications. And NBA allows us to identify deviations from these thresholds so that we can determine suspicious behavior on the network. Compliance and insider threat issues. Here, it's possible to trace network behavior to a specific user ID. This allows us to prove to auditors that only authorized personnel have access to our most important applications. We can make sure that contractors are only going to places where they should be going, and we can also detect suspicious connections to critical servers such as database servers. Let's take a look at what we've learned from adopters of NBA. Number one, NBA solutions can be cost-effective because of the embedded NetFlow support that's in our existing infrastructure today. Routers have the embedded NetFlow exporter capability, so do many firewalls and other devices within our network infrastructure. So the fact that this NetFlow exporter technology is already built into our network infrastructure, that can make NetFlow solutions or NBA solutions very cost-effective. We talked already about how NBA tools can be very helpful for detecting advanced targeted threats. And we've also learned from adopters of NBA solutions that these work best if you have relatively predictable traffic patterns. If your traffic patterns are all over the map, then it's going to be more difficult to establish those thresholds that I spoke about earlier. But if you have, again, relatively predictable traffic patterns, then NBA tools can be very effective at establishing thresholds and then monitoring for when you exceed those thresholds.